Hey everybody, this is Christina from Craft Muse, and today our tutorial is going to be for a Loomigurumi Bullseye inspired by Zoom Zoom. So this is what I've come up with. This was just my little practice guy here, but I think I'm going to pretty much keep to the same design. And for this tutorial I used for this one, I used the caramel for the body color, and then the burgundy brown for the hair, and then the coffee color from, I think the brand is like Loom Bands, this one right here, this coffee one. I think you can get it at Joann's. But that's what I used for this part, and today I'm going to actually make the main part of the body this color here. So I'm going to do the coffee color, and then I'm going to use one of the skin tone color bands for this area here, just because I just wanted to change up the color. But you guys can feel free to do whatever colors you want. You can make them purple, whatever. But yeah, and then I just used 2 yellows here, and so I'm going to use gold today. And yeah, those are really basically the only colors that you're going to need, and then also pink. So you'll need 2 types of brown, and then like a lighter brown or a skin tone color for this area. So, and then you'll also need 2 hooks, one for your crocheting and then one just to hold on to your feet. And or you can use like a toothpick, a pencil, whatever you guys want to use. It doesn't have to be 2 hooks. And then you'll need a C-clip or a stitch marker. I'm just using a C-clip. And you'll also need some eyes, and I am going to use the pony beads, the 9mm pony beads. I use the 9mm on this one as well. I was going to do the smaller ones today, but I think I'm going to stick with the bigger ones. So, and if you don't have the pony beads, you can use wrap bands as well, or you can use safety eyes, buttons, whatever you want to use in place of the beads if you don't have them. And you also need some polyfill, this stuff here, or something soft, squishy, so you can make your little guy nice and squishy. Okay, so let's get started, and the first thing that we want to make are the feet, or his little hooves, which, like all my Zoom Zooms that I've made, is just a magic ring of 6. So, very simple, and you'll need to make 4 of them, of course. And I'm starting off with my darkest brown, and I've written down just the basic steps of what we're doing today. So these are the legs, and MR stands for magic ring, and we need to have 6 stitches in there, and we need to make 4. So let's get started with one of them, and then you can pause the video and make the other 3. So I'm just taking my band and I'm going to wrap it around my hook 2 times so that I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to grab another band. I'm going to pull it through my capping band and reclaim the other end onto my hook. And then I'm going to bring this band underneath this one. I'm going to go back in through my capping band, except I missed 1 loop of it. Here we go. I'll grab another brown band. I'll bring it through my capping band only and reclaim the other end. So now I have 3 loops on my hook. I want to bring this band here underneath these 2 here. So I'll just slide those underneath. Go back through my capping band. I'm bringing up band number 3 now through my capping band only. And then this through these 2. So I'm just going to keep continuing that until I have a total of 6. I think that was 5. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I need 1 more. Like that. And then if you want to do this now, you can take your body color and the band that you have on your hook, keep that on your hook, and then go through the very first stitch in your magic circle, just like that, take your body color band and bring it through all of these loops on your hook. And then you can just put this onto your holding hook. That way it'll be ready to go when we add it into our rounds, into the body. So you'll need to make 3 more of these. So if you want to pause the video and do that, and then meet me back here when you're finished with that. Alright, so you should have your feet done, and I've already just put them onto my body color bands for now. You can just set that aside, we won't need it until a little bit later. Now we can start with the ears, and what we're going to be doing is using the body color and 2 more magic rings of 6 stitches, and then we'll be adding in the pink inner ear part after we make our magic rings. So let's just start with the magic rings first. So I'm just assuming that you guys are pretty comfortable with the magic rings by now. So this is my body color, and I'm just putting in 6 stitches. And these bands that I'm using are, I might be going a little bit slower just because these are a little bit, I guess waxy. I don't know how to describe it. Very sticky. They remind me, like, this color and the feel looks like earwax to me. This reminds me of earwax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so once you've got your 6 stitches in, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, I'm just going to go in through my first stitch over, and then I'm just going to tie this off. So I'll take another band and bring it through all of the bands on my hook, and then just create a slip knot to tie it off. Just going to give it a little tug. So this is one part of the ear, just the outer ear. Let's make the second one, and then we can do the inner ear. So I had originally planned to have this tutorial out a couple of days ago, actually, but my son, my 7-year-old, was homesick with a stomach virus for the past 3 days. So, of course, he's my family's priority #1, but that's why there's a little bit of a delay in this video. Super slow here with these. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm just going to go into my first stitch over, and then just bring it through and tie a slip knot and give it a little stretch. Okay, so we are going to need some pink now, and your body color still. I'm just going to use these glittery pink bands, and you want to take one and wrap it around your hook once, and then grab both of those bands and wrap them around again, just like that. Push it down, grab another pink one, do the same thing, so wrap it around your hook once, grab them both and wrap them around again, just like that. So you've got 2 wrap bands on your hook. Now you're going to take a body color band and we're going to double loop it, just like that. And now what I want to do is just move these 2 wrap bands onto the body colored band. Okay, so that's what you have now. Now what we're going to need to do is hold on to this end here. So you've got one end on your hook and you're holding on to the other end. You can wrap it around your finger in either hand, whichever hand you're using to hold your hook. Just keep it around your finger for now, because what we need to do is put a pink band right next to this one. So we're making another wrapped band. Just slide it over next to your body color band, and now you can just take your other end and put it back onto your hook so that it's in the center. Okay, and then we just want to take a single band of your body color, and you're going to move these over onto it, but you want to do it in order. So first I'm doing my body color band, and then I'm going to do my pink wrapped band, and then my body color. And then scooch that towards the middle, and it should be fine if you just take it off your hook. So this is what we have, and this is our inner ear, and we need to make one more. So let's make our 2 wrap bands. So there's one. I'm going to make my second one. I'm going to take my body color band, double loop it, and pull these onto it. Oops. Slide those towards the center. Okay, and then you just remember to hold this other end on your finger while you put your second pink one, or third pink one here. And then you can put this one back onto your hook. Just like that. And then take your single body color band and pull these through in order. So we have body color, pink, and then body color. Slide that towards the center. And there we go. So now we just need to attach these to our ear. And all I did was placed it in the center of my ear. It's going to be a little hard to see this because this ear is so tiny. But I just placed it in the center, and then I went through the stitches next to my tying off bands on each side and just pulled these through. And then you can kind of stretch your magic ring around it a little bit. And then these bands here are what we're going to use to attach it to the head. So these 2 here, and then our center tying off band. So we'll do the same thing with this one. Just place our wrap bands in the center, and then go through a stitch next to the tying off band, pull it through, and go on the other side, and pull that other side through. Okay, so we have our 2 ears, and then you can put those aside. Done with that one, and now we want to make the nose. I know it's not called a nose, so I forget what it's like, a nuzzle or muzzle or something. I don't know. I'm sure somebody will correct me on the correct term, like, of what to use. I'm not a horse expert, so anyways. Oh wait, hold on, I'm not using this color. Yeah, for this part you want to use a little bit lighter of a color than your body color. So this is, I'm going to be using my skin tone bands for this part. Sorry about that. Okay. So this is the pattern right here. We're going to start off with a magic ring of 6, the usual. And you might want to have your stitch marker handy here because we're going to start using it in this area. So I'm going to make my magic ring. Ah yes, much nicer bands to work with. So that's 2. There's 3. 4. 5, and then I need one more. There's 6, and so I should have the 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to take my C-clip, or if you're using a stitch marker, and stick it in the band on my hook. And our next row around, for row 2, we want to do an increase all the way around, so we want to put 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around so that we end up with 12 stitches. So I'll go in through my first stitch here. I'll do my first single crochet. So there's 1. I'll go in through my first stitch again, do another single. There's 2. Go in through my second stitch, do a single crochet. That's 1. Go in through my second stitch again and do another single crochet. 2. Go in through my third stitch, do my single crochet. So there's 1. Go in through my third stitch again for another single. There's 2. Through my fourth stitch, here's 1 single crochet. Through my fourth stitch again, another single. Through my fifth stitch, there's 1. Through my fifth stitch again, there's 2. And then I'm just going to take out my C-clip for this last stitch. So I'll do the same thing, just 2 single crochets. So there's 1 and 2. So if you want to count that, you should have 12 stitches around. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And just a tip for those of you who are just beginning with Loomigurumi. I know one of the problems that I had was counting, knowing where to start my count. Like, because, I don't know, it was confusing to me at first. So you always want to count with a stitch that doesn't have anything on it. So like this band here is attached to this stitch here. So you're not going to start your count there. You're going to start with the V that has nothing on it. So that would be my first one, and then you go all the way around up until you reach this band that's on your hook. That always counts as a stitch as well. So I'm not even sure if that helps at all, but that was like one of the problems that I had when I first started. Out of multiple problems, I had multiple problems when I first started Loomigurumi, but I just kept at it, and you know, I finally got the hang of it. So for row 3, you're going to do a single crochet in the first stitch and then an increase in the second stitch, and then you're going to continue that pattern going back to the single crochet and then the increase. So you're going to do that all the way around so that you end up with 18 stitches. So my first stitch, I'm going to do a single crochet. My second stitch over, I'm doing an increase, so I'll put 2 single crochets in that second stitch. So there's 1, there's 2. My third stitch will be a single crochet. So there's 1. My fourth stitch will be an increase, so I'll put 2 single crochets. So there's 1 and 2. My next stitch over will be a single. Just 1. My next stitch will be an increase. Just 1, 2. Next stitch will be a single. Next stitch over will be an increase. Just 1 and 2. Next stitch will be a single. Sorry, I'm just trying to get comfortable. This chair is like so uncomfortable. Okay, so that was a single. Next stitch will be an increase. Next stitch will be a single. Okay, and then I'm just going to take my C-clip out to work in this last stitch, and I want to put an increase. There's 1, and there's 2, and then I'll put my C-clip back in. And we should have 24 stitches now, so I'll do my count. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then 18. So now we want to increase to 24 stitches. So for row 4, we're going to do a single crochet in the first stitch, a single crochet in the second stitch, and then an increase in the third stitch. And then we'll repeat that all the way around, going back to the singles, singles, increase. So if we do that all the way around in the 18 stitches, we'll end up with 24. So let's start off with our first stitch will be a single. Our second stitch will be a single. Third stitch will be an increase. Next stitch, now we're going back to our singles, so here's 1. Next one will be a single. And then the next one will be an increase. Back to our singles. So there's 1, whoops, 1. Next stitch over is a single. And then my next stitch over is an increase. Next stitch is a single, single, and an increase. Single, single, increase, single, single, and then our last stitch will be an increase. And this is where we should have 24 stitches now. This is also the last row of this piece, so we just need to go in through our next stitch over, grab another band, bring it through all the loops on your hook, and tie a slip knot. Okay, so if you want to count that, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then 24. So this is our little piece for the face. And we're going to be folding it over and adding nostrils to it, but we'll do that when we get a little bit more of the face finished of the horse before we start adding this on. So you can just set that aside for now, and then we can start with Bullseye. Okay, so let's start with the body, and these are the first 3 rows that I have written down here. In row 3 is where we're going to be adding our eyes. So if you already know what you're doing, then you can start with the row 1 and 2, and then we're going to be adding the eyes in row 3 to stitch number 3 and 8. So I've already put my eyes on my body color bands. Now if you're using wrap bands, you'll just wrap a band, like make a cap band on your hook, and then pull it onto your body color band. And that you can use in place of the beads if you don't have beads. So let's get our body color ready. And as always, we will be starting out with our magic ring with 6 stitches in it. So I'll wrap around my hook twice. So there's 1. There's 2. There's 3. 4. 5, and then I need 1 more. And 6. So now I have 6 stitches around my magic ring. So I'm going to take my C-clip and put it on the band on my hook. And now for row 2, I want to do an increase all the way around. So I'll do 2 single crochets in each of the 6 stitches so that I end up with 12. So here's number 1. I go into that first one again and do my second. There's 2. Now I'll go into my second stitch. There's 1. Back into my second stitch. There's 2. Now I'll go into my third stitch. 1, back into my third stitch again, 2, into my fourth stitch, just 1, two. Now I'm in my fifth stitch. One, and 2, and then I'm going to take my C-clip out just to work into my last stitch. So I'll do my increase here. There's 1, and then 1 more. And 2. So now I should have 12 stitches in here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Our next row around for row 3 is where we're going to be adding our eyes. So get your eyes ready. So what we want to do for the pattern is do a single crochet and then an increase, and a single crochet increase. So we're going to do that all the way around in our 18 stitches, so that in our 12 stitches, so that we end up with 18. But we want to add our eyes to stitch number 3. So if you just follow along with me, I'll just show you where to put them. So our first stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. So there's 1. Our second stitch will be an increase. There's 1, and then I'll go back in there and put another single crochet. Our third stitch is the single crochet, and this is where we're adding our eyes. So I'll just take one of my eyes, grab one end of the band and bring it through, grab the other end onto my hook, and then just do my crochet. Our fourth stitch will be an increase. There's one, and two. Our fifth stitch will be a single, and if I'm going too slow for you, feel free just to pause it and go at your own pace. Our sixth stitch will be an increase. Seventh stitch will be a single. And this is supposed to say 9, not 8. I'm sorry for that. For some reason, every time I make these cards, this is the second time I've made the cards, and this is the second time I've messed it up. So this should say 9. So 3 and 9. Okay, so but for our 8th stitch, we're going to do an increase. You'd think I'd know by now after making like several of these. Okay, and then our 9th stitch is where we're going to add our second eye, and this stitch here is the 4th stitch from the end. So grab your other eye, just grab one end, pull it through, put the other end onto your hook, do your crochet. Okay, our next stitch over is going to be an increase. Next stitch will be a single, and then our last stitch will be an increase. So now we should have 18 stitches in here. So if we count, we have 1, 2, 3, and then this 4th one is going to be tiny, but you want to count that. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Your 13th stitch is also going to be small. So it's 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. You just want to remember to make sure you do crochet into those tiny stitches and not to miss them in our next round. Otherwise, your count will be off. So, okay, so now we can work on row 4, which is going to be another increase. This time we're going to be doing a single crochet, and then an increase. And we're just going to repeat that all the way around so that we end up with 24 stitches. So I'll start off with my single crochet. My second stitch will also be a single. My third stitch is going to be an increase. My fourth stitch, which is this little tiny one, is going to go back to the single crochets. So there's one. My fifth stitch will be a single. My sixth stitch will be an increase. My seventh stitch will be a single. 8th stitch will also be a single. 9th stitch will be an increase. Next stitch will be a single. Another single. Then we're going to do an increase. Okay, this next stitch, which is teeny tiny, is a single. Next stitch over is a single. Next stitch over is an increase. And we're going to go back to our singles. So single, and then single again. And then our last stitch, we will put an increase. Okay, replace your C-clip or your stitch marker, and now you should have 24 stitches. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and then 24. So this is what yours should be looking like right now. Basically just like a little face with eyeballs. And so now for rows 5 through 9, all we want to do are single crochets all the way around in the 24 stitches. So that's a total of 5 rounds. So you want to keep track of how many rounds you've completed as you go along. So if you finish a round, then just place the band off to the side just to kind of mark, you know, so you know where how many you've done. So I'll do the first one with you, and then you can go ahead and do the last 4. And then we'll meet back here. So let's start with the first round. Again, these are just single crochets all the way around. So I placed an order of quite a few skin tone colored bands because I want to make some more people, and I needed more skin tone bands because I ran out. But like I want to make Ariel and Flounder, just because Ariel is one of my favorite Disney princesses. And then I'm thinking of maybe doing like some Frozen ones. I don't know, my list is so long, but I definitely needed more skin tone bands. So, and then I also want to make the Loomigurumi mermaid. I don't know if you've seen it on my Instagram, but I do want to do a tutorial of something similar to that as well. But I can't get too far ahead of myself. This is going really slow for me, so I apologize for that. I'm not really sure like what they coat. It seems like they have like a coating on them. I'm not sure what they put on them. Whatever it is, it leaves junk on my fingers and on my hook. Okay, so that was my first row around, and now I want to do 4 more. So if you guys want to meet me back here after your 4 rounds, and I'm going to mark mine, so that means I've done 1. Just continue on just with your single crochets until you've completed 4 more rounds. So I'll see you guys back here when I finished with that. Alright guys, I'm back. And I finished my additional 4 rows around, so this is what I have now. A boring little blibbity blob. But now I can start adding his eyebrows and then his little nuzzle to him. So I'm just going to tie this off for now, so I'll just go in through my next stitch over and bring a band through all the loops on my hook and do a slip knot, and that will just keep it from unwinding or unchaining or whatever you want to call it. Unstitching, I don't know. But for now, just while we work on some of the details, we're not going to add the hair just yet because I want to get a little bit further down the body before we start adding the hair. So let's just work on the front face first. So we're going to need our nose part. And you want to make sure that your tying off band is towards your right. And so if your tying off band is towards the right, you're going to be placing your nose thingy here. Just because if you have it this way with your tying off band towards the left, then it's not going to work out when we put our feet in. It won't work out in the same spots as mine does. So just make sure it's hanging out to the right. Okay, so we're gonna, like I said earlier, we're gonna be folding this in like this, and then we're gonna add 2 nostrils, and our nostrils are actually going to be what's gonna tie this together, and then we'll actually place it, sew it around onto the face like that. So let's start with our nostrils, and I am going to use the same brown that I'm going to be using for my hair, so I'm just using the burgundy brown. For each nostril you'll need 2, so I'm just going to do a slip knot. Let me get these out of the way for now because we don't need them. So I'm just going to tie a slip knot, so I just put 1 band onto my hook, just like that. And then I'll take my other band, slide this one on, and reclaim the other end. Just like that, and then I'll do a slip knot. So there's 1, and then I'll make my second one. Okay. So we're not folding it directly in half, otherwise it's going to be a little short. We just want to fold a portion of it. So you still want to be able to see where we started with our magic ring. And I'm basically just folding right above that. So this is my beginning, and then I folded the row above that over and into the inside. And don't worry about this. We'll get rid of that later. So your nostrils want to go, I mean, you can put them at an angle. That's what I'm going to do. And when you go through to bring your bands through, make sure you're going through the part that's folded over and the front, because this is what's going to tie this together. So let's see. So here's my magic ring. I'm going to go through this hole to the left of it, right here. So I'm going to go in through my folded over part and this part. And then pull 1 band down. And then I'm just going to go to the next hole that's a little bit above that one. And of course yours might look different than mine, just because it's just the nature of it. So there's one nostril. I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I'll start with the hole right next to my magic ring. Pull a band through. Then I'll go to the hole up here. Pull the other end through. Just like that. And then I'm just going to tie these together. Actually, there's not much to tie them to, so why is this one in the same hole? Yeah, I just tie them in a knot. I'm just going to bring this through down here. Try to do it as loosely as you can because you don't want to squeeze your nostrils too hard so that they're barely visible. Like that one, but you can push it out a little bit. And just trying to center this a little better. Now this Zoom Zoom does require a little bit more work than some of my other ones, just because there's so much that we have to add to him, like his hair, his mane, and his tail, and his saddle and things like that. So this one is a little bit harder than some of my other more basic ones. I'd say put him in about the same category as Woody, if you've made Woody. Okay, so if you've got these little things that are gonna poke out when you sew it, you can just go in through some bands in the back and just pull it through just so they're not showing up at the top. So that it's, you know, facing down. Okay. Okay, so now what we want to do is sew this on. So we're basically going to be going through each stitch with bands and attaching this onto the face. So you can start anywhere you want, but I'm just going to stick my hook through some of these bands in the corner. And I'm going to take a few of my skin tone bands, and you might need kind of a long length, just because there's a lot of stitches that you have to go through. I'm going to tie a slip knot. And then I'm just going to keep adding to that. So I put 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'll do one more, just in case. 7. All right, and then you're going to place it on the face. I'm putting it right underneath the eyes, and I'm basically just going to go all the way around and to fasten this on. So since I'm starting off, since I put my tying off band in the corner, I'm going to go through a spot in the face that is right nearby my tying off band. I'm just going to pull that through. And if you have a yarn needle, this would be much, much easier to do. Okay, so that's my starting point. And since my band is coming out of the inside, I'm going to go through the top of my next stitch over, and then through a stitch in the face. And I'll pull this band up. Okay, and now since it's on the top, I'm going to be going through the inside up into my next stitch over, pulling that band through. Make sure you tug it a little bit, and make sure you stop and check to make sure you're in the right position with your nose. And you're just going to want to do this all the way around. Looks funny right now. So I'm coming around to the other side of my nose, and I want to make sure that it's not going to be, that it's going to be even with the other side. And if it's not, you can kind of scrunch it down a little bit because it's supposed to be more 3D anyways. So like mine is, I'm just pushing it out a little bit and scrunching it on the side so that it's kind of lined up with this side here. And you're going to have to hold it in that position while you sew this on. So These are the parts that take the longest. That's okay, because this is going to make, the more time and patience you put into it, the nicer your design will come out. So once you get to the top, you're still going to do the same thing. You're not going to have real like specific stitches to go through. So just use your judgment where you want to like place, where you want to do it. Just try to make your spacing a little bit even. Not that you're really going to see it anyways, because it will blend in with the color, but and I'm almost to the end. Yay. I'm gonna do one more, actually two more. One, and I want to bring it towards the inside. Two. Okay, so that's what mine looks like, and it's not perfect. It's a little bit, this part here is closer to the eye than it is here, but it's okay. Looks like a monkey or something right now. So just fold this inside out, and then we'll get rid of this band here. I'm just going to take I'll just leave one band on there, take the rest of my slip knotted bands off. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, anyways. And then I'll just bring them through some bands on the face. And feel free to tie them off with a slip knot or just bring them through. This since I broke mine, I'm just gonna bring him through a few stitches in the face. I'm sure it'll be fine, as long as nobody yanks on it. There, just like that. Okay, so we've got his little thing on, nozzle or muzzle or whatever it is, and I want to add my eyebrows. So I'm going to add them a little bit high on him, because again, this Zoom Zoom looks worried. Not sure why, but I'm going to take my brown bands. I'm just going to use one for each eyebrow, and I'm just going to place them wherever I want to, wherever looks good. So of course, just bring it through a hole in the face, and go through another hole and bring down the rest of it. And don't tie it off yet, because we need to add our other one, and you want to make sure that they both look okay. Even if they're like uneven from each other, that's fine. Like if they're both not exactly lined up with one another, it's not a big deal. It's what gives them their little facial expression. Okay, so I've got my eyebrows in. Just go back on the inside. Got my loops. Just gonna go through one with my hook, pull the other one through, then find a spot on the inside of my face and tie a slip knot, the body color band. Then I'll do that on the other side. Just pick up one end, bring the other end through it, and then tie it off. And I think I'll add my ears now too. So let's grab our ears. We might as well do this now, and then we can just work on the hair once we get a little bit further down the body. So for this one that I made, my ears were a little bit further back. I think I want to put them a little bit closer to the face. So you've got on your ear, you have your tying off band, the long one, and then you've got the two bands on each side that are just from the inner ear. So what we want to do is pull through the bands, all three of the bands, in the area that you want your ear to be. So let's say I want it to be here. I'm just doing it right above the eyebrow pretty much. Actually, I don't know if I should do them like here. No, I'm going to do them like this. And since these little loops here are so short, it might be easier if you just keep, when you're pulling those through, if you just keep the bands on your hook. So like I'll pull this end through, and then I'll keep it on my hook and go around and grab the other end. Like that. And these you can stretch. I'm just going to bring one through this one here. And then I am going to take these and tie these in a knot with the other tying off band. like that, and he's gonna look like a cow or something until we add his mane. So do your other ear. Try to put it in line with your ear that you just placed. I think that's the hardest part, is getting like everything in line with one another. So I'm pulling down one of these bands and then I'm still keeping it on my hook. Then I'm going to go to the other side and grab the other end. So I've got the 2 on my hook. I'm going to bring this one through this one, give it a stretch, and then take this loose tying off band and just tie a knot with the 2. Okay, so I've got my ears on. Now let's continue with the body, and then we can add the hair in a little bit. So we're going back to our body color. Oh gosh, okay. So let's get our cards out. And this row is where we're going to be adding our front hooves. So we'll need our little hooves that we made in the beginning. So just have those handy. So for row 10, we're just continuing with the single crochets around. And then our hooves will be added in the 5th and then the 10th row. Stitch, not row. So I'm trying to just adjust myself. Okay, so now I'm just going to take out my temporary tying off band if you did that. And then I'll pick up where I left off, place my C-clip in there. So I'm just going to start my single crochets, and then in my 5th stitch, I will add my foot, my first one. So there's 1. 2. 3. 4. Okay, now I'm going to go into my 5th stitch, grab one of my feet off of here, grab one end just like we did with our eyes. We're just going to pull it through like our eyes, pull it through, and then reclaim the other end, do our crochet. So that was 5. Do the same thing in the 10th stitch. So there's 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I'll go on my 10th stitch and get my other foot, pull one end through my stitch only, put the other end on my hook, do my crochet, and then I'll just go around to my C-clip with the single crochets. Okay, so that was my last stitch there for round 10. And now we get to do 4 more rounds of single crochets. So for rows 11 through 14, we're just going to single crochet all the way around in the 24 stitches. So here I will let you guys go and do that. And I'll meet you back when we're done with that. And we're once we get to row 14, we're going to fasten off again so that we can start on the hair. So I'll meet you back here when you're done with that. Alright guys, so I finished my 4 rows around, and at this point we're almost finished. The only really time consuming things that we have left to do are the mane and the saddle and the tail, but his body is pretty much almost finished. So let's, I tied off temporarily for now just because I want to start adding his hair in, and this is going to be directly crocheted into his body, instead of, you know, making a separate piece and then having to attach it separately. And there is a point that we have to stop because we have to have room to add the saddle on. So I think, let me see, I'm trying to think how many, if you just follow along with me, then you'll be fine. I don't have a certain written out pattern for this because I just kind of improvised it, and so, you know, I might do it differently this time, and I think I might, instead, I use double bands at the bottom for the chain going up. I think I'm going to switch back to single bands just because the double bands are more tight and they pull the hole, so you have a little bit, like, you have more gaps in the face when you use the double bands. So I'm going to use one. And here's your magic ring right here. And I'm just going to go in a stitch right above that. And I'm using the burgundy brown for this. I'm going to pull it through my stitch and just do a slip knot. And I'm going to just continue going along, like, I'm going to do like a zigzag. So that was one. So my next stitch will be a little bit off. It's not going to be centered, I just want it to kind of go back and forth. So I'll take another band. Try to be as gentle as possible when you're working in these stitches because you don't, like I said, you don't want to create more gaps than you already have. So I pulled up my second band and I'm just going to do it like I'm doing single crochets. So I'm just going to do that. Just place them wherever you want, in a line or a zigzag. And then I'll kind of show you where you want to stop adding bands because we need enough room for the saddle. So and the first time you do this, if you don't like how it looks, you can just take it right out and start over again if it doesn't look, you know, right to you. You can just easily fix that. So as you can see by my stitches, they're slightly zigzagged. It's not like a drastic one, but I'm probably going to stop right here. So if you can see that, let's say I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I put in 11, and it's going to vary because I don't know how you're spacing your hair, or what kind of, if you're doing the zigzag or if you're just going straight up. But if you put your ears in the same area that I did, you want to stop like a couple of stitches behind the ears, because we do need this space for the saddle. I'm actually going to do one more right next to it. So unfortunately that does give him a shorter mane, but it's okay because that's what the real one looks like anyway. So okay, so once you've reached your end of this row, all we're going to be doing is going back this way now. So I'm going to go in through my first stitch that I ended with, and I'm just going to do single crochet here, and then I'm going to add one more band. So I'm going to make chain 1, just like that. So I just pulled up another band through the loop that was on my hook, and then I'll just go into my second stitch and do a single crochet, pull it through. Just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to chain 1 there. I'm going to go through my next one. I'm going to do my single crochet. Here I'm going to chain 1. So I have the band on my hook. I'll just take my other band, bring it through and reclaim. So now I have 2. Now I'll go over to my next stitch. I'll bring up 1 band. So when you chain 1, you'll have 3 bands that are on your hook that this band needs to go through. And the reason for that is because I want it to be kind of zigzaggy on top as well. So go through my next stitch and just do a single. So I'm just alternating between regular single crochets and then regular single crochets with a chain 1. So now I'm going to do my single crochet here and then chain 1. I'm going to do a regular single crochet here. Then my next one I'm going to do a single crochet. And then I'll chain 1 here. Go through my next one and do a regular single crochet. I'll go through my next one, do a single crochet plus a chain. Do a single crochet, chain 1. I'll go through here, do my regular. And then even this little the first stitch that we started off with, the slip stitch or the slip knot, I'm just still going to go through that and do a single crochet plus a chain 1. And then I'm going to go back through that area where I added my first band and then pull a band, excuse me, sorry, pull a band through all the bands on my hook and just tie a slip knot. And then we can hide that into the body. So this is, yours should be something similar to this. It looks like a little punk rocker mohawk. Okay, so I'm just going to go in through here and pull this through. But in order to get a better hold on it, I'm actually going to bring it through some of these tighter loops. And then I'll bring it through the body. Okay. So there's his little hair. And so now we can continue on with his body, and then once we start doing a couple of the decreases, then we'll add his saddle in, and then we'll close him up. So alright, so our next row around for row 15 is where we're going to be adding our other two legs. So I'll take my temporary tying off band, and then grab where I left off, place my C-clip there. Now we're still doing our single crochets around, and we're going to be adding our feet into stitch number 2 and stitch number 8. So if you just follow along with me, I can show you where we'll be adding those. Oops. Okay, so again, just single crochets around. So here's one. Okay, so I'm putting my hook through my second one. I'm going to grab my other foot. I'm going to grab one end of my band, pull it through my stitch only, and reclaim the other end onto my hook and do my single crochet. So that was stitch 2, and then we have to go around to stitch 8 to add our second foot. So here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now I'm going to stick my hook in my 8th stitch and grab my last hoof. Okay, so I'll grab one end, bring it through my stitch only, reclaim the other end, and crochet. Alright, and now I can just continue all the way around with single crochets to my C-clip. I hope you guys are following along just fine with this. I'm always worried that I'm not explaining it enough, or All right, so here's my last one here. Okay, so that was row 15, and now we're going to start decreasing. So for that, we are going to do a single crochet followed by a decrease, and then we'll just repeat the same pattern around until we end up with 18 stitches. So we'll start off with our single crochet. So there's one. I'll do my second one. Okay, and now I'm going to do my decrease, and the way I do that is I'm going to go through the front loop of my next stitch over. So I just pick up one loop, and then my next stitch over from that, I'm going to pick up that loop. I'm going to take another band. I'm going to pull it through these two loops that I just picked up only, and reclaim the other end into my hook, and then just do my single crochet, or my crochet. Now I'm going back to my single crochets. So there's one. There's two. I'm going to do another decrease. So I'll pick up one loop, the next loop, grab a band, pull through those two only, do my crochet. Now I'm going to go back to my single crochets again. So there's one, there's two. I'm doing my next decrease. Okay, back to my singles. Just one. Two. I'm going to do a decrease. When you pull your band through, make sure you try to center as much as possible. Okay, I'm going back to my single crochets. There's one. Two, and then I'm going to do my decrease. Okay, I'm going to do two single crochets. So there's one. And there's two. And then my last two stitches will be a decrease. So just pick up one, and then the last one. Okay. So let's see. I think I want to do the next row around, and then we'll add the saddle. Okay, so for this next row around will be row 17, and we're just going to do a single crochet followed by a decrease so that we end up with 12 stitches. So let's go to our first stitch and do our single crochet. Now we're going to do our decrease. I'm going to do a single crochet, and then we're going to do a decrease, I'm going to do a single. I'm going to do a decrease. Single. And a decrease. Sorry if my fingers are in the way more in this video. I have to kind of maneuver these bands a little more than normal. Single crochet, just because I just want to stick to my hook. Then a decrease. Single. And then we'll end with a decrease. And let's temporarily fasten off after we do our decrease. So, do your decrease. And then I'll just go into my next stitch over and fasten off for now. Then we can start on the saddle. So again, like the hair, this is also an improvised thing. So I'm just gonna slowly do it, and you can follow along with me. I don't have a written out pattern. This is where you're going to need your brown again, and then also 2 colors for your stirrups. I'm just going to use, I don't know, because this color is pretty close to this color. I think I'll use silver for this part. Okay, so we're gonna need our brown, and then I'm gonna use a pastel yellow for my stirrup. Now for the saddle, what we want to do is skip a stitch right after you stopped your hair. So you're skipping a stitch just so there's a little bit of space in between the hair and the saddle. And then you're just gonna go down approximately like in the center, and then maybe down 1 stitch from the center and stick your hook through there. And that's where you're going to start the saddle. So, but first we need to make our stirrup. And so you'll take your 2 bands that you're using for each stirrup. So there's 1. I wrapped it around once, and then I'm going to pull this onto my band, the color of my saddle. Then I'm going to go through my spot where I want it to start. I'm going to pull this band through and then do a slip knot so that I can start my single crochets up and over. Okay, so now instead of like with the hair where we did a zigzag, we want our saddle to be straight. So I'm just going to keep going up in as straight as a line as possible with single crochets. You know, it's a little bit awkward doing it this way, but so now, yeah, what you should be doing is just a simple single crochet. It might not be perfectly straight, you know, but just try your hardest to get it that way. And then I'm going to be ending in the same, trying to be like directly across from my first stitch that I put in with my stirrup. that one's a little off to the side. So once you get around to the side to where you think your next stirrup should be, take your yellow or whatever color you're using and wrap it around your hook once. Take your brown band and slide that on there. Oh no, it's coming off. Sorry, I gotta do a little multitasking here. Okay, and then stick your hook through that last stitch on this side and just bring it up and through. Just like that. Just do your crochet. Okay, I think that's good enough. Alright, so we've got our first row down for our saddle. And now what we want to do is continue our crochets back this way. And I think I'm going to do it in the front loops only. So pick up the one loop, not the back loop, just one, and just start your single crochets back the other way. So I'm just picking up one loop, I'm not going through both of them. So I'm still just going down with my single crochets. In the front loops only. Then make sure you get that last one that you put in. Look, that's like a different brown. Okay, so this is what you should have now, but you shouldn't have that wrapped around there. So next thing we want to do is start decreasing a little bit, just so we can kind of shape out the saddle a little bit more than just a straight line. So I'm going to do a decrease in my next stitch down. So I'll pick up my one loop, and then I'll go through and pick up my other loop, grab a band, pull it through those two loops that I just picked up. Your other loop, your first loop that you started off with, might want to move around, so it might be kind of hard to see. Okay, so for this part, let's just go through both of the loops in both stitches. Just pull those through, do your crochet, and then we can do regular single crochets, and this time I'm just going through all of the stitch instead of just the front loop. So I'm just continuing. I started off with my decrease, and then I'm going to end with a decrease once we get to the bottom of the other side. I'm going to do one more, and then my last two stitches will be a decrease. So just pick those two up. Okay. We're going to do another decrease. So now we're going back this way. So I'm going to do a decrease here. And I'm going to do another one. So that's two decreases. Might be a little bit hard. It's just awkward crocheting this way. Ugh, I can't get this. Goodness. Okay, so I start off this row off with two decreases, and then I'm going to just single crochet until I get to the last four stitches, and then I'll decrease those. Okay, so my last four stitches, and I'm going to decrease one. And then my last two. Okay, one more round. And we're going to do our decreases again. Now we're going back the other way. Going to do another decrease. Another decrease. Basically, we're just decreasing the rest. And one more. Okay, and then you can just go in the next, well, it's not a stitch, but the next opening over and just tie that off. Okay, and then just give your little saddle a tug so that it takes its shape a little bit better. And even if it's squeezing your body a little bit, it will be fine once we stuff him. So we've got this tying off band here, and let's add another one to this end on the opposite end. So I'm just going to do a slip knot. I'm going to pull it through the body. Pull the other one through. And then we can just take these, go into a stitch in the body, and do a slip knot to secure them. Then if you want, you could even add one in the center, just so it will pull it down a little bit. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to add another slip knot in the center. And pull it through. And then I'll secure it. Okay. Now we can work on getting him closed up, and then we just have to do the tail, and then we'll be finished. So we ended up with the 12 stitches in our last round. So if you temporarily tied off, take that out. Pick up where you left off. And we're just going to decrease all the way around. But we also need to add stuffing into him. So grab your stuffing. And just start sticking it in there. Make sure that most of it is up towards his face rather than in his bottom. getting in the way. Okay, so once you've got them stuffed, now we're just going to decrease all the way around so that we end up with the 6 stitches. So we're going to do a total of 6 decreases. So there's 1. There's 2. Three, 4, 5, and then 1 more. And 6. Okay, and then take another band and make a slip knot. And then to close this little gap up, we're just going to go through the top loops only around our 6 stitches. I can't find any more, so it's okay if you don't get all of them. And then just give it a tug and then tie a knot. So just go through like another stitch over, bring my band through. And then I use this part of the band and just tie a knot with it. Okay, and then I'll just hide this in the body. And you might have to play around with the saddle a little bit, just give it some more stretching so it comes out the way you want it to look. Okay, so we're finished with that, and now we just need to add his little tail. So I'm taking my brown bands and wherever you want to add the tail, I'm going to add it a little bit below the saddle, so I'll probably go skip a stitch and then I'll just start my tail. So I'll stick my hook through the bum area. take a band, pull it through. So I have 2 loops on my hook, do like a slip knot. I'm gonna go down 1 right beneath that. Whoops. And then I'm going to go down 1 more. Oh, goodness gracious. This has been a long tutorial for me to film. Okay, so I have this little nub of brown on him. And this is what you can, where you can do whatever you want. You can add like, I'm gonna add 2 chains to it. So there's 1 and 2. And then I'm just gonna crochet in those 3 stitches that I just made in the body. Just 1, 2. I'm going to go through this little tiny one too. And 3. And I'm going to go back down with a single, another single, and I'll go into my last stitch, do a single, and then I'll chain 1, 2, and I'll go through this stitch at the very bottom, and just tie it off. So it's just like a little nubby tail. You guys can do whatever you want with the tail. You don't have to follow my exact way. Just pull your tying off band through. Okay, so there's your bullseye, and I know the hardest parts were probably like the hair area, the saddle, and the tail, because I didn't have the written out directions, and so just because I don't know, it's kind of hard to write out exactly what to do, the steps exactly what to do, and then for me to be able to remember like what I'm trying to like read or whatever. But I hope you guys followed along okay, and if you haven't made Woody to go with him, you should make Woody too. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do so. That way you can get notifications of when I have new videos that come out. And if you do make this little guy, please share with me on Instagram at Christina.Davis. I'd love to see him, and again, I hope you guys followed along okay with this tutorial, and I can't wait to see some of your creations. So I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.